What's up, you absurd junkies? Welcome back to another episode of Absurd Curiosity Podcast. For those who know our show and are coming back, thank you so much for watching. And for those who are new to the community, welcome. We mostly talk about science, gaming, medicine, technology. But the most important thing is that we have a good time and laugh while doing it.
And if you are just enjoying the heck out of your time with us at Absurd Curiosity and want to be a part of our community, we would love to invite you to our Discord server, where you can meet tons of other absurd junkies just like you who just have a passion to meet people, have interesting conversations. You can find me, Steven, Cole, and even Nuclear Geek over here in that channel. So we would love to see you there.
Okay. Hi, I'm your host among hosts, Cole Adam Davis. I'm joined by the beautiful Steven Pelota.
How's it going, everyone?
Actually, it's Pilata. I messed that up. I would like to add.
There you go. All right.
I messed that up.
I wasn't going to go there, but yeah.
And then
Every
got the beautiful Scotty Smith.
What is up?
And then we've got, the nuclear shaman himself, the stonk master and the master of like 30 other things, Sean Pickett.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Sean.
Thanks for inviting me. This is cool. And I love your guys' Discord, and I love Discord in general. I just started using Discord recently, and it's been really awesome. I use it for trading a lot. I'm in a bunch of different trading rooms. I'm in a bunch of 3D printing rooms, and then your guys is I think that's really separate from Twitter. That's like the only social media I play around. I don't know if I call it social media. But
was I the one that got you into?
You invited me to a Discord room before I had Discord, and
okay.
then I started using Discord because of trading, and then I saw I had a link in there, and I didn't even know what it was, and I clicked it, and I was like, oh yeah, those are all the Twitter guys.
So Sean, me and you have been in a competition recently, and it's a health competition. And might I add, I had not been this active in a while.
Yeah.
Like in a while. I'm not sure if you've been this active, but I haven't.
I hit it sometimes whenever I've gotten into a couple of competitions with friends, and that's the same thing. I just you gotta get your numbers every day. Usually though, it's warmer out, and I do a lot of hiking, so like I'm usually hitting my numbers no problem because I go out. I've got like hundreds of acres of nature preserve. It's wrapped around. I'm in like a south, corner of Cincinnati, basically, where I can see Indiana and Kentucky. I'm in Ohio, and all these suburbs in this area in western Cincinnati. There's a lot of woods. Like actually, Cincinnati is one of the most wooded cities in the country.
Really?
And there's a lot of woods. Yeah, it's crazy. It's really thick wooded. You'd be really surprised. You can just get lost right between the houses and not even realize it. So I can hike into my woods and hike around for like miles and miles and miles and not encounter anyone. It's pretty neat. Yeah, and there's trails all through it. And there's old logging trails that have been there for years for like to do like sand mining and to move, from
it's about 100 acres out there.
Way more than that. There's a 40-acre nature preserve, and then there's hundreds of acres that's like state land that it runs pipelines and things in between the houses that no one can use. It's like in the middle of valleys. The houses are built up on the ridges like mine is. And then down below, it's all unusable land. Like some people own pieces of it. There's a lot of easements, and stuff for the states to go in. So there's a lot of state lines that run through there. But I throw my backpack on, I go out there and I throw my tent up.
That sounds so great because like in Louisiana, we don't have any of that, and it's just flat. Like you look out and you're like, oh, that's flat. Yeah. You lived in Louisiana. You know about this.
I was born there. I was born in Monroe. So.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we live my family lives like 30 minutes from Monroe right now. They live out in Ruston, but we're originally from New Orleans and like Baton Rouge area.
There is a Jiffy Lube or something like that, a car lube place in Ruston. My stepdad was a manager there whenever we were
no way.
Really? That's
and I spent every summer there because they, child labor and stuff. And so I go there and work every summer until finally my uncle that sold fireworks in downtown Monroe stole me for the summers, and then it was summers and Christmas
for more child labor.
Downtown Monroe, and it was like hardcore downtown Monroe. Like there was several incidents of armed chases that ran through the town. And one time the guy flipped his 9mm underneath a car that was right there, and they kept running, and the dogs tackled him. And
if that doesn't sound like Monroe, that nails it. That nails it, man. That nails it.
I mean, it sounds like Baton Rouge too.
Yeah,
Right.
there's a lot of crime here.
There's a lot of things in Louisiana that aren't normal.
I'm a crawfish, so my crawfish is my favorite food. I am a crawfish fanatic, and so every
good.
year I order live crawfish from New Orleans, and they ship it to me. And I
No
do a big
way.
every year.
Do any of your like neighbors think you're insane or?
So
whatever,
I'm always
like-
doing all kinds of weird stuff, but the cool thing is none of my neighbors can see me, so no one sees what I do. Okay. My only neighbor that can see my house is like this big. It was actually, we call it the White House or whatever, but it was built after Augusta National. I live on an abandoned golf course, and and the golf course that's part of that. Hundreds of acres is this golf course that they just left standing. No one comes back here. So I've got like a pond right outside my house. And then the White House, it was built after Augusta National because the guy that built the golf course loved Augusta National. So he built this giant clubhouse, and then it was like, I don't really want it to be the clubhouse. This is just my residence now, and took it. And then he built this house in secret because there was like an HOA and all that stuff. And he built it in secret. And then after it was built, he was like, what are you going to do about it? And so my house was built in secret for his daughter. And so it's like overbuilt into the side of this hill, and you can't see it. Like you have to drive down this long private drive, and then you only see his house, and then like his driveway, and then my driveway shoots off the side of his, and then wraps around his house, and my house is like on the hill behind it. It's pretty neat.
I realize now why he had your house set up the way it was. It was so he can keep an eye on his daughter the whole time.
Yeah.
That was probably why.
And like there's like
Smart guy.
from my house up to his house and stuff like that. It's kind of weird. And in fact, his house was just sold to someone for like $800,000 or something, and we're and they already came and approached us and said, hey, we're thinking we want to buy your house too because they want to buy it for their kids. Like, hey, I'm for
Oh
sale.
my god.
Repeat of the original, yeah.
Are you willing to sell it?
Maybe I'd like to buy and sell property, so I have rental house as well, and wherever I move, I usually buy a house and hang on to it, and then I either turn it to rental or I sell it. And
You flip houses?
I hold for like the 3 years that you have to for tax, or 2 years or whatever it is for tax purposes, so you don't get taxed on it as income. And then I'll sell it as residence. I have like 4 houses. I think I've done.
Oh wow, shit. Well, can you really can you get rid of the the just being able to put a backpack on and just going out to hike?
Can I get rid of it?
Well, I mean, like,
Oh,
okay.
you're willing to give
just,
that up.
Like say to move
I'm
somewhere.
gonna get something else. There's I find cool places everywhere. There are cool places.
Yeah.
I had a house in Sarasota, Florida. It was awesome. You get to the
nice.
beach, right down for the roof of the beach.
Very nice.
It was amazing working in Sarasota.
Did you go to Clearwater?
I was close to Clearwater. I was like,
Yeah,
what's Sarasota, like 30 minutes south of Clearwater?
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I went to college in Lakeland, and I would go to Clearwater all the time in Sarasota. Nice area.
Oh, it's beautiful. The sand is gorgeous. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And the animals and stuff. And I'm a nature person, so like it's great for there because you go out and there's just animals everywhere. There's rare animals and stuff. There's nature preserves with like rare scrub jays. It's like a rare form of a blue jay.
You're in Florida, so there's a lot of rare animals in general. But
All
most
kinds
of them
of
are people. They're mostly the people, right?
Yeah, the people are crazy. I like to stay away from people. I like people to a point. And then I don't like people.
I actually saw on the news the other day where this guy got a utility pole that fell down, picked it up by himself, which is a huge utility pole, set it on top of his Camry and strapped it down and was going to go recycle it.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw
Dude,
that.
What?
Do you-
I think it was an old story. I saw that picture. I think I've seen that before though. But yeah, that's Florida for you.
Dude, the crackhead powers that man had to have to pick up a utility pole and set it on his Camry was squatting. Just want to state that. That's how heavy it was.
Florida man. We've talked about Florida men before.
Yeah.
Do you know Jeremy Judkins?
Both of us at the same time.
So, do you know Jeremy Judkins?
Yeah, Jeremy. Yeah, so we talk all the time.
Yeah.
Jeremy was one of the early Twitter friends that we made a connection with, and we talk all the time. We talk trading a lot.
He's hysterical. Did you see this video the other day where he was like he was imitating everybody, like all the YouTubers at the end of the videos? It's like, you should subscribe to my Patreon, this. He goes, you should also subscribe to my OnlyFans. Like I shoved this Dr. Pepper can up my ass, the aerosol can. That stand back there, never use it for my camera, right up my ass. It's just like
I didn't catch that part of it.
Did you see his mini Apple, the iPhone, mini iPhone
That was
opening?
pretty clever. That was very clever.
Here's my unboxing, and then dude, like done.
That was pretty, like, it was like a play on the word mini unboxing.
Mini,
That
yeah. It was pretty
smart.
clever. And then he also had the other review where he was doing the iPhone 11 Pro versus the 12 mini. Do you guys see that? Where he's talking about dick size?
I did not see that.
No.
I'm not going to repeat anything he says, but I'm going to let you guys watch it. But he goes into detail. And I just I don't know. He's so out of pocket every time I see something from him. I'm like, Jeremy, you outdid yourself. Whenever I think he hits that peak
He just
level of
goes the
comedy, he
extra
just goes
mile.
the extra mile.
Yeah.
Our man knows no boundaries.
Like, did you see what he was hanging up on his clothesline?
Oh no.
We're not gonna talk about that, but
Oh no, we
No,
can. Yeah, we
Put a
can.
link in the description for that one.
Oh my
Look,
god.
No, I really love people that push the envelope and change things. Like I'm a comedy fan, and so like Bill Hicks and Mitch Hedberg and those kind of people that have just pushed the envelope. They're not always PC or something and all that, but it's just amazing. It's done out of fun.
Yeah.
it shakes things up, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is the second podcast, by the way, where Jeremy has gotten a shout out from us.
You need to get him on.
We need to get him on. Yeah.
We definitely need to. We tried reaching out, but there's some issues regarding getting him on. So, but we're gonna try and work on those because that man, he's pretty awesome.
So you want me to show you the Pac-Man logic board thing I brought up real quick?
Yes, yeah.
Go
So,
ahead.
Oh my
yeah.
god, yeah.
So I know right before the podcast we're talking. Should we show you my Pac-Man?
Yeah. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
do you want to tell a story really quickly?
So I was working in Lubbock, Texas, West Texas, in the middle of nowhere. Anybody been to Lubbock, Texas? I bet you haven't.
No.
Unless you had a real specific reason to be there, you don't drive through it.
Yeah.
It is 5 hours from everything in the middle of. And so it was like the time of Craigslist and storage wars and all that stuff is hot, and people were buying storage units. And he was always like every day you go through Craigslist and see what was on there, just the newest stuff that was on for sale. Always finding good stuff, boats and whatever. I bought a Harley Davidson one day for the heck of it, sold it a few months later for like $1,000 more I paid for it. Nothing.
Good God, dude.
It's great. I did that kind of stuff all the time. Bought boats, trailers. I bought a trailer. I was going to move, and I was like, instead of renting this U-Haul, I bought a trailer on Craigslist. I moved. I helped 2 other friends move, held it for 8 months, and then sold it for $800 more than I bought it for. I was like, are you what?
Oh man.
I need to start doing stuff like that, but I need money first.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of poor too.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something I've always kind of done is flip stuff up. I grew up poor, by the way, like dirt poor from trailer parks. I got kicked out of my parents' house when I was 16. I've lived on my own since I was 16.
Wow.
I damn near went to prison for life. I don't know if you guys saw my Twitter post about that. It kind of
I didn't. Well, all right, we'll have to say that. We'll have to say that for later.
Yeah, let's save that too.
Yeah, that's
But anyway,
That's insane.
I was
Holy
looking
shit.
at Texas and we were looking on Craigslist and there was a posting that guy had to get rid of it. Must sell Pac-Man. I'm like, are you kidding me? $75? Are you kidding me? And so I told my boss. He's like, why are you even asking me? Why aren't you on the way to go get that thing? And so I hopped in my truck and drove over there. And he was like, okay, which side of it you want to scratch up? And I was like, no, dude, we are picking this thing up and putting it in the back of my truck. And I was like, I gave him an extra $25, like, help me lift from your knees.
Yeah.
God.
Put it back in. Unfortunately, the thing had some water damage, and like I was telling you guys, I got some grief over this when I posted on Reddit and Twitter in the past because I have converted it to a MAME, and I'll get to what that is. But the original logic board was good, and normally when you find one of these, it has Miss Pac-Man as a logic board. The logic board I was bringing out here to show you guys. This is the logic board.
Dude, compare that to a logic board now. Like, it's so spaced out, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. All the memory, that you see. And you can actually see, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it says Pac-Man right there at Midway Manufacturing Company, 1980.
No way.
Yeah, Midway Manufacturing. That's original. And this is good. I can, this actually goes for on eBay for a good chunk of change. I want to create a shadow box with this and the original.
That would be sweet. Yeah.
No, that would be
really
so
cool.
awesome.
How many gigs of RAM on there?
Yeah.
Graphics card.
And so you can actually adjust the logic settings to adjust the gameplay on this thing. So you move, either some of them you move a little card over, some of them you flip a dip switch. I'll probably answer that wrong. But There's some things you can do to change gameplay. And in fact, when you open the back of the unit, there's instructions, for harder gameplay, do this. For a much harder gameplay, do this.
Way.
So if you want people to throw more money in the thing and it be more difficult and challenging, you can change the game.
I've never heard of this before.
Almost all video games have that in the back, in the old school.
Well, like at old school, like arcades, that's how they would get their money.
The thing had quarters in it. It was in an arcade. The last time
$75 worth of quarters in there.
That would be pretty mean at Chuck E. Cheese.
And then I had to break the lock and stuff to get in it. But it has the original registration. The last time it was registered was 1985. And then it went into the storage unit in 1985, and it sat in there in that storage unit since 1985. But so I consulted with some video game guys. There was a local guy that was a professional, and he was like, "Dude, yeah, we can fix it, but you're gonna have to replace all of the power components at the bottom. You're gonna have to, the logic board's about the only good thing. You have to replace the monitor, which is very expensive, and then you have to do it all the time because these things go out. You're gonna have to buy used, and then you're gonna have to and then you're only gonna be able to pay back. It's cool, And some people criticize me for doing it, but I made the decision of converting it to a MAME. I always wanted a MAME.
What's a MAME?
MAME?
MAME is multi-arcade machine emulator.
Okay.
It is software that runs on a PC, typically. In the past, it was a PC. And it would run all the loaders to run ROMs. And so I got into a community of video game, ROM shares or whatever. I have all these games backed up. All of these games were physical copies that I had one time in my life.
Right.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%.
Every single Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Neo Geo, and every single arcade game ever made on the thing.
Jesus.
And in all languages across the
How often do you go, this game's interesting, but it'd be great playing it in Portuguese?
Yeah. And then it has, and it's went through various PCs, and operating systems. Today, though, it runs on Raspberry Pi.
Yeah,
really?
I know somebody who has they have one of those setups, same thing like that with all the backed up actual versions of all the games, of course. And but yeah, they're running it all on a Raspberry Pi. Pretty much the whole thing is this big as far as they have a little plastic casing for it. Amazing. Yeah,
it has a sound system. There's a sub in the bottom. There's speakers up top. I have my kids play all these arcade games. All these retro games.
It's good to start them young and actually say this is where games came from rather than starting them in 2021.
Starting with Legend of Zelda on the Wii.
We play a lot of Zelda. We play a lot of Super Nintendo on it, and we play Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I think is probably our most played game on the thing. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Two games that are probably the best games that most people have never played on a Super Nintendo, and that is Zombies Ate My Neighbors and Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
I've never heard of.
Never played that one. I've never played either.
Okay, so Super Ghouls and Ghosts is. I'm pretty sure it's a fact that Super Ghouls and Ghosts is the hardest Super Nintendo game made.
Really? I'm going to try that out.
I'm pretty sure it is the most difficult Super Nintendo game.
So you're telling me it's like the Dark Souls of Nintendo?
It's impossible. It's literally impossible to beat because after you beat it the first time, you have to do it again 3 more times or something like that.
Really?
So and you can't even beat it. Yeah, it's you put you right back at the beginning. You have to do it again.
Dude, I don't think. Okay. Yeah, so
but my kids love it.
What would the Pac-Man machine go for if it was in the original state?
All things functioning.
All things if you were to fix it back to the old, using the old TV.
Thousands, definitely thousands. I wouldn't sell it. I've had offers of up to $5,000 on it, and I won't sell it.
Yeah.
I
don't blame you, honestly.
Speaking of things that are you can't exactly put a price on. Were you able to either order or secure one of the Tesla Kilo bottles?
I got 2.
Do you have them with you, or did they not come in?
I ordered them. Yeah.
Okay.
They haven't come in.
Okay.
They haven't been shipped yet. I'm friends with Javier on Twitter, and he was showing his off. That's the guy that designed it. The bottle.
Oh, I need to look at Javier.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's got some. It's pretty neat. And so he also designed some of the Cybertruck parts, and he designed the modem for the Starlink and all that. That's why it looks like
that modem is. Yeah, I think
he mentioned that. That's why it looks like it's a Cybertruck.
So with the Tesla Kilo bottles, with the alcohol, for some reason they were able to ship it in certain parts of New York, but not.
It's weird.
It was goofy. Yeah, I know people in Long Island that were able to get it in the city and the Hudson Valley, but I'm in Albany and we just weren't able to get it here. It saved me a couple $100. So
I saw someone post it, and I went and bought one, and then I thought about it for about 2 seconds, and I was like, dude, that is going to be worth some money for one thing, and I don't want to sell it. So I'm going to go buy a second one. I can sell that one if I wanted to or needed to or whatever.
Yeah,
And
did you see they're actually going to be selling the empty bottles?
the empty bottles. That's all it's
yeah.
and shot glasses.
Yeah, the shot glasses. Yeah.
It is cool. I'm glad for it. But are you going to be popping it up for S&P inclusion?
No. I'm excited about S&P. I don't know if you guys seen I tweet about the financial stuff, but I think that like Tesla's going to probably trade fairly flat. I mean, there's going to be some jumps, but there's like this afternoon you saw it, and I don't know if you guys saw my post about comparing it against Etsy for S&P inclusion. So
I did see that.
That got included, and so I pulled up a stock chart and compared it against. The data was announced that it was included, and it was playing very similar to Tesla. It had a hot run after hours. Next day, it closed red, but it has hot runs, and then it closed hot runs. And basically, what's happening is market movers are manipulating the stock, but so it doesn't get to a certain rate before December 21st. If it runs up way too high, then they're going to buy at that higher rate. So I think that. Mostly what they do, is buy through dark pool prints. It's basically not listed on the stock exchanges. It's on private exchanges, and they're moving millions of shares, in the background. It's not affecting the stock price as much. And then, so they're going to try to keep that stock price. In my opinion, anything can happen because, especially with Tesla. Tesla's a crazy animal. And
it's a wild card.
In my opinion, what's going to happen is going to be trading fairly flat. I don't think it'll break. Too much over 500. I think it's going to trade around $500, probably between 500
few weeks or
so. And 500 to 550 until December 21st. And then after December 21st, you're going to see maybe even a couple more days after the 21st of some red. It's around Christmas, right? So it's like there's less trading around Christmas. So that's time to lose. Maybe why they actually timed that a little farther than they normally do between announcement and inclusion date. So there's going to be a little less action, I think. And everybody's expecting hot action, right? So I think that it's going to be really it's clear expectations. The market likes to break those expectations, right? So I think it's going to trade fairly flat until December 21st, and then maybe a few more days of flat, red, maybe it skyrockets. But once we get past 21st, there are no more
rules.
There's no more roadblock. Everyone has to start including this, and you're going to see some selling in other stocks because they're going to have to make room in their portfolios, and that's what they're doing now. So you're going to see some selling, some buying, some selling, some buying until the 21st, and then it's boom. After the 21st, who knows? But I don't think between the 21st and January 15th, it's probably going to trade above 600 because 600 calls. They don't want them to land in the money after the 15th. So I could see, maybe run up to and over 600 before the 15th, but then a draw back down by the 15th of less than 600.
Obviously, for a lot of people that are watching the podcast, they're like our age, and we don't really understand, stocks the way that you do. Can I just get you started on what, for people like me and Scotty, right? We probably only have $600-$700 to start trading. What do you suggest to get started? What papers do you plan on tell us to read? How should
follow
one?
Follow Squawk. What is it? Squawk Box on Twitter. That guy knows his stuff.
Who is it?
Isn't his name Squawk Box? Is that his name?
Squawk Square. He trades Tesla. Yeah, he trades Tesla. He exclusively trades Tesla. Yeah, so here's the thing. I got started in this investing, not trading. and I was, it was, I have an MBA, by the way. I went through business school and got a business degree, and I've managed, businesses and all these things. And so I had some knowledge of what happens. I had this teacher in my business program that was just amazing. And he's a former CFO of Philip Morris. And so in Sarasota, when I went to business school, we had, it was like University of Webster, but it was an adjunct program. So we had all these professors that were basically retired professionals that taught the classes, and they're former CEOs and CFOs. They're just amazing people. It's incredible. And this guy was a former CFO of Philip Morris. And so when he would show us investments and how all these different strategies, he would show it his investments, and how to do it. Oh, it's just cool.
Wow.
And we had a stock picking program, and it was around, when Obama was doing a lot with healthcare, and I was working in healthcare, and so I was just aware. So we had a stock pick program that was part of our grade, and in that program, it was my first taste. I kind of knew what stocks were, but I made some wise choices, and everybody in the program, we basically started with $10,000, and everyone
fictional money or actual money?
It's paper trade. fictional. And so,
Okay.
you know, at the end of the class, I had over doubled my money. I had well over 20,000 in the account, and everyone else in the class ended red in the whole thing.
Dang.
He's like, dude, you could package this as a portfolio. Like, this was amazing. Like, I cannot believe you had this performance in this thing. And so for my trading experience, I started investing whenever I got out of the class and everything. And really, I got my first Tesla, and then I first started trading actually marijuana stocks and these kind of things, and made some good money, enough money.
How long ago was that?
Last year, early in the year, like in January.
Oh,
and then I sold over the summer,
gotcha.
and then it's all the pop market, you know, like fell out and stuff.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
I stopped trading. And but I made good money, and I used it for down payment for a house and all this, and then I got my Tesla, and I had no idea about Tesla when I got a Tesla. You know, when I first got my first Tesla, and it was I just wanted a nice car. I told you guys, right, I came from a trailer park, like poor and all this stuff, and I'd always driven old vehicles and used vehicles, and like for the first time in my life, like I could afford a nice car for a long time. I just haven't done it, and so finally, I'm like driving all the time. I was driving to Chicago all the time.
What did you have? What car?
I had a Nissan Titan, a 2007 Nissan Titan.
That's just their vehicle. I mean, that's not a bad. Yeah, it's not a bad truck.
2009, and I bought it for like 15 grand. Kept it for all these years, you know, and it's wonderful. And I sold it still, you know, for it was beat up, like $4 grand, you know, still got a chunk of change out of it. And so I was driving that thing to Chicago all the time. My company pays for it. They pay for my gas, which is, you know, man, that's a big chunk of a check that's coming every month. I could put that toward a Tesla payment instead. Then I was tracking coronavirus. They were paying my car payment every year. So I did the math, and I was like, I'm going to buy a nice car. You know, and I was looking at BMW and Audi and all these things. And a friend of mine at the hospital, he was like, no, dude, you got to go check out Tesla. You know, that's
was he a Tesla owner? Your friend recommended?
He was just a fan. Yeah, he wasn't even a fan. He was just a guy that worked at the hospital. And hey, dude, we have no idea what all this Tesla community, all that stuff. No, it wasn't. And so I got my Tesla, and it was amazing. It was like life changing.
This was the X, right?
Oh, this was my Model 3.
Oh, it's okay before.
My first Tesla was my Model 3, and so it was amazing. My company was paying my bill. It was incredible. I loved it. After that, I was like, man, this is a great company. It's really cool. And I was like on Twitter, I was looking at it, and I started my trading strategy with searching cash tags on Twitter. Cash tag is a hashtag, but you use a $sign and the stock ticker. And stock picking, when you're picking what you want to trade, there's a lot of ways to come to the conclusion of what you want to trade or invest in, right? It can be sentimental reasons. It can be fundamental analysis or trading like a technical analysis that you do with a stock, like trade the price action. I do a lot of that now. I do a lot of price action trading. Back then, I had no idea what any of that stuff is. I didn't do any of that. But I did find through Twitter was that trending cash tags led to market sentiment. It's equivalent, right? More people are talking about something on social media, the more people are trading it as well, you know, so it's equal. Makes sense. And so I could find more people talking about something. More people are populating the latest column, like the latest tweets. I have to scroll through 2 or 3 pages to get something that's older than 5 minutes, you know, that's really hot. Wow. If it's on the first page, it's 2 days old, not very many people are talking about it. So that's like a clear indicator right there. But then you start looking at the quality of what people are tweeting about, right? What are they saying about these things? And so, you know, in the beginning, I was using that, and I traded really well with Enphase and some electric vehicle companies, Tesla, of course. And I made, you know, my first big thing, like I started with $7,000. And so that was my, I had won that from the pot stocks, and I used it on down payment on a house. And then I kind of took it back out of my bank account, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this back in the market. And I bought some stocks. I bought like $2,000 of Tesla shares, you know, that's all I could afford, 11 shares. I still have them. They're like 60 shares now or whatever. I bought original 11. So my original purchase price now is like $50 for Tesla. And
wait, pre-split or post?
Post split. That's what whatever like $250 or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, you know, I bought some Tesla, and I bought a bunch of Tesla call options as an investment, right? And it was like the memes. It was the meme price. It was the Tesla 420, or not 4. February 4th, I think, was the day that really like changed my life in trading. And I made some Tesla calls and bought a bunch. And it was the day that Tesla went up like, oh, that for that first time, it was like jumped that $100. And I made $110,000 in one day off of like a $5,000 bet or something.
God damn. Okay, so
what?
Yeah, I want to stop you right here because one, that's amazing. That's insane that you did that. But Second, what is the difference between just buying a share and calling options for people that don't understand?
There's a good amount to this, but you could try.
Yeah, absolutely. So common stock is what most people think about when it's an investment, right? One share, one piece of that company, right? And it has a monetary value, and that monetary value is the market cap of the company divided by the outstanding shares available. That's the stock price. So that's that market cap, that's the quote unquote value of that company. That's what. Now, if you think that company is going to go up in value, you can buy the stock, right? That's okay. And the reasons options exist. The only reason, back in the days really is for hedging. So you say you own, say in the beginning of the year, like January or something, you buy 1 million shares of Tesla. Like say you're a big hedge fund or something, you buy 1 million shares, and you don't want to sell that Tesla this year, no matter what. You're like, I don't care what happens. I'm going to keep those Tesla shares, but I need to protect them. So they're going to hedge against crazy market movements. So they might buy puts when they think, whenever they think the stock is going to go down, and as those puts increase in premium, they can progressively sell them into that movement. And then as it gets to the bottom, they think it's going to go back up. They're going to call. They're going to sell. They can do a couple things. They can buy call options on the market and watch it go up. Now, there's other strategies as well, like selling covered calls. Like how do these things even exist? Right? These companies write these call options. Jeremy actually writes call options. One of the things he likes to do.
So So what is call options? Can you explain that?
So an option is the option. It's not mandatory, but it's the option to purchase or sell an equity in the future, like a stock. So a call option in the U.S. market, and this is different in European markets and elsewhere, but a call option in New York Stock Exchange in the U.S. market is the option to buy or sell 100 shares in the future at a premium. So you basically buy it for a premium, and then it has a strike price and an expiration. Okay. So the expiration is the day that option expires, and after it expires, it no longer exists. If the stock is in the money, which means it's below the strike price, then you exercise the option, and that gives you 100 shares of that equity, and you have to pay for it. So say, for example, let's take a stock that has a share price of $20, right? Yeah. And I think it's going to go to $40 by January. Right now it's at $20, and I think it's going to go to $40 by January. That's my inclination for whatever reason. Maybe I got, a fairy whispering in my ear. I got my back pocket.
Swap share with something.
Squawk space on Twitter saying, hey, this is going to happen. Whatever is happening, I think it's going to go to $40. So I could buy naked call options. That's what they're called, because they're not backed by anything. You're just buying the cash on the market. These call options. And so you can buy, say I'm gonna buy 10 call options and for $40. That's pretty drastic movement, especially if that stock is traded like $20 for the past 3 years. It's never seen $40. That's crazy drastic. They might not even exist. They might be $30 that's available out there. But ultimately, say I do buy them, and they're probably worth 10 cents because there's that's not happening. It's just so now 10 cents. It's 10 cents per share to exercise it. So whatever the premium of the call option is, you always multiply by 100. So that 10 cents is actually $10. So you would have to pay $10 to purchase that call option. In all reality, that call option is probably a penny, but they won't trade them for that. They will trade them only in increments of 10 cents below a certain value. So you end up going to pay $10 for it. Okay. And then it might revert back to a penny. So you basically just lost $9 right out the gate. And but you have a strong inclination that it's going to go up. And there's all these values that calculate the price. Like how does that price change, right? So as the stock goes up, there's a likelihood that that's going to cash out the money. The reason the thing even exists is because a hedge fund or some fund has shares, and they don't think it's going to go up. And if they say, if it does go up, hell, I'm good selling for twice my money. That's fine. So I'm going to write a call option, and I'm going to collect that premium, and I'm going to put it in my pocket. That's my money now. Now, they have a limited gain on that because they collected the premium. That's all the money they'll ever make. But they have unlimited loss. Because if the stock continues to go up and they don't cover it, but they would cover it along the way, but if they don't cover it, they can suffer unlimited loss. Say that stock goes to $100. Once it starts getting in the money, for every $1 that stock price moves, that premium of your call option moves $100 because it also moves $1, but it's times 100.
Which is also why Tesla Q is so aggressive.
Yeah, because they got skin in the game. They got an opposite. That's the problem with call options. With stock, there's no loser, right? You're buying it from someone.
The most you go down is to 0, and you lose whatever it was that you bought in at.
Yeah, now the call option can go to 0. You can buy a call option today that's worth thousands. Like, for example, I had a Tesla call option one time that was worth $35,000. One of them. I paid a couple $100s for that call option, and I didn't sell it on a Monday because I thought it was going to $60,000 or $70,000. It ended up going down to like less than 5, but then it came back up to like 25, and I cashed it out. About 25.
So basically, the big hedge fund is kind of like the bookie keeper, and you're like kind of placing bets in a way.
You're always playing against someone with call options.
Okay.
So that's kind of the problem. You're buying it from someone with an opposite bet. They think it's going to go down. If they're selling a call, they don't think it's going to go up. If they're selling a put, they don't think it's going to go down. So there's bull and bear plays by selling, and there's also bull and bear plays by buying. I do more what's called momentum trading, and I buy and then I sell the ones that I bought by naked options. I don't back them. I don't cover. I play pure cash. I don't use margin, and
never use margin.
Margin. So I trading accounts now. So I'll be honest with my numbers. I talk about this on Twitter. So I started my trading account like in last year with $7,000 or whatever, and at the highest peak I was over $250,000 for the year. And so it was for 8 months I made $250,000 with $7,000. That's pretty impressive. I think I think I was pretty good to a lot of other you expect 20% in the market, and so I killed it 25.
That's what. Yeah, calls are the best, quickest way. It's just it's risk and reward.
So here's my celebrity. It's a casino. I like to gamble. I like to go to the casino. I like to make bets. I like to play blackjack. I like to do various forms of gambling. It's fine. It's fun. And so it's the casino at home, but you can make so much more money.
Which is there was someone I was talking to. He does Bitcoin, and we were talking for a while, and he said, we're just pretty much talking about pandemic and investing in Bitcoin and all these different things about what's going on. And one of the things he told me what was very, very interesting, okay, why is the stock market doing what it's doing right now in the middle of a pandemic? We're coming up on like a year of this. This makes zero sense. The market should be, in the gutter. It should be horrible. The economy, the actual true economy is not doing very well as far as businesses, restaurants, right? Something he said that was very interesting. He uses Coinbase for trading Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And within like the week, the month that whole $1,200 stimulus check came out, he said there was a bunch of money that went into Coinbase exactly for $1,200.
Yep.
So people that are staying at home, you're working from home, you're staying at home, you could go on your phone once an hour and make a quick little trade, and whatever it is, but very interesting to see what that part of the stimulus did for the market in a world where not everyone, but a lot of people are working from home.
Yeah, and Bitcoin's an interesting one. Man,
Bitcoin's an interesting one.
I had a friend that was mining Bitcoin when I worked in Texas, and they were like $0.25 a piece, and he was trying to convince me to buy them, and I was like, oh, no, let's take it off now.
Hey, I don't want your imaginary internet money.
Now I'm like, man, $2,000, what would that be worth now?
Yeah, so I wanted to get into...
You don't want to talk about that, do you?
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the way I look at trading. There is always another trade.
Exactly. It's never.
For example, yesterday, Tesla's moving, right? So, and I've been very cautious because I lost a good chunk. And I'll be frank about it. I lost about $80,000 in about a month whenever the market went down, because I am inexperienced and I'm still learning. I'm getting my feet, and I was really aggressive, and I lost a chunk. I'm still way up, but like. I was honestly about to buy like a $90,000 RV for the hell of it. I was like, not for the hell of it, but like for investment. Traveling that summer, we're gonna go have a blast. It's gonna be fun. And then that money's gone.
Yeah. It's crazy to wake up and the amount of money that you see is totally different than
Now I trade much more conservatively and much smaller, but I still like with about a $10,000 account, I can make $1,000 a day. Pretty easily. And for example,
awesome.
Like yesterday, whenever Tesla was moving, all my indicators started lighting off. Tesla's going off, and above 500, get in, whatever, or whatever it was yesterday. And I got and I bought some $500 call options for the end of the week. I held on to them for a couple hours. I made 140%, made like $5,000, like right away. Done. Get out. Okay. Made more money over lunch break than we'll all.
Yeah. I saw that tweet. Yeah. That was good. Yeah, it's a pretty crazy feeling.
And I tweet not to brag about it. I tweet to inspire because it is. I lived my life poor, like in the beginning, and then I got a good job, a good career. I built my life up. I thought I was going to be printing for the rest of my life. I had an injury late one night. I severed 2 tendons in my hand when I was a printer, and I went back to nuclear medicine school, and learned how to be a nuclear medicine tech and all this. It inspired me to go back to school for medicine and do all this stuff that I do now. And now, so I like to use that story as like a more of, this exists. Like I didn't know this existed a year. I wish more people were talking about it, So, and I get kind of beat up sometimes, and like some people, like there was some guy today that was like, like whenever or yesterday I post about how I did well or did something, and like, it's only this after tax. Why would you say that? Like if someone told you about a job that you had, would you say, oh yeah, it's great, you got that job, you're going to pay 30% of that
for that capital gains tax, bro.
Everyone pay income tax. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So who does that?
Sean, there's one trade that you should keep, in my opinion. Not investment advice. Big asterisk over here. But keep. My thought is keep an eye on Rolls Royce. It's RYCEY. Okay. I'm keeping a heavy eye on it. I got in at $1.52 and out at $2.98 or something. It went up 100% in a week and a half. Nice. And it was like, okay, I'm out. I'm out. But I think keep a strong eye on that one.
Yeah, people ask me all the time, like, how do you determine when to take the profit? It's like, is there enough profit? Then take it.
Are you going to profit?
That's right. Then take it. And then you can roll it up. You can do it again. That's the cool thing is like, you don't have to get burnt out on a trade. And Steve, I know you talked about like, burn on Neo because, I was in such a good point.
I don't want to talk about it.
I know you want to talk about it. I know. I can feel you. And I've done that. I bought Neo originally at $2.
Oh, man. Yeah, dude. I was in there at like $1.52. I got my average price was probably like under $4, and I had a little over 1,000.
I would be retired if I had all the Neo that I've bought in my life.
I know, man. It's so bad.
We're done. A game. So you gotta think that there's, but you also don't get emotional when you
that's the hardest part.
If you rules and you should set some rules for yourself in trading. And if you're playing by your rules and you exited a trade because of your rules, then you did a good.
You can't get emotional with it. You just can't. That's the hardest part.
But don't look away, right? Keep it on your eyes. Keep it on your charts. Keep alerts set. And when it gets, it's a great stock. It's a great company. It's just not trading well right now. So, keep it on the back burner. And then, or just keep a long-term investments and just don't touch it. But if you're trading the options,
another hard one.
that you just have to, you get ready to re-enter that trade when it makes sense.
You brought up, you injuring your hand, and then you went into nuclear medicine. I wanted to actually talk to you about nuclear medicine because me and Scotty are actually in pre-med right now. Yeah. And we just wanted to talk to you a little bit about,
what's your background?
Yeah, what's your background?
You mentioned going to school. What exactly? How did that go for you?
Absolutely. So I was a printer. Like that was my job. I've worked.
Well, like what type of printer? Like screen printing or?
I'll tell you. So I started with folding and collating at a big company. It's called. And there was a big factory. I was in high school, and it was like a night job and whatever. And I was super fast. I was super good at it for some reason, and I could like collate and like do this. Like there was like a manual motion you had to do, and most people like either couldn't get it or it took them a long time to learn. And so I like moved up in the company and like did all this cool stuff. And then I upset somebody with some comment someday, and they was like, it was really religious and like in the middle of like country Illinois, and they kept. But it was okay because I needed to focus on school and do some other things. So then I got in a lot of trouble. Like I said, I had gotten it's really crazy, but I was a juvenile and it's all, in my past, but I got in a lot of trouble. And I thought I was going to do life in prison, like for real. And
we can cover that after this story.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I was tried as a juvenile. I got found guilty, but I was a juvenile. So it's basically, a wash, I was time served. Yeah. And all that and put away. But they wouldn't let me leave the state. They put me under for like 90 days. And because I was a flight risk. They thought I was working for the mafia. And it was just untrue.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Okay, we got to go into that.
No way. That's a story.
Yeah, it's like kingpinning and organized crime. But so but anyway, we got past it. And I got a clean record, good record. And I was like, this is dumb. What am I doing in my life? And I was living on my own. I was living with a group of friends in like a trap house, basically. Okay, we gotta fix this. And so I got out, I was 18, and because I was on probation, I had to go get job and all that stuff. And so I found a third shift job at this printing factory, and it was called. So we did offset printing, which is these giant factory floors with these giant roll presses, right? These big old rolls of paper, huge, and they're running them through and they're printing them with multiple heads. And I started as a third pressman. It's like the lowest man on the totem pole. In fact, they had me searching the first night for this chemical called AIR everywhere. I couldn't find it. They told me it was in the basement, and they had no basement. And they told me
was it even a real chemical, or is this like some fake thing they made up to just make you go do something?
It was AIR, air.
Oh,
Oh man,
that's just like we do in the restaurant industry. They'll be like, hey, we used to get like new people whenever I worked at Cane's to get a garbage bag and be like, hey, we got to get fresh air in the chicken. You need a garbage bag, grab all the cold air out of the fridge, put it out, grab warm air, put it back in. And we'd have them do that for hours. Just do it for hours.
It's just stupid.
that's so mean.
That's the factory life. So yeah, I left the factory life, and I moved up in the company. I liked printing. I thought, this is a great job. I came from nothing. I've got a good job. This is cool. I mean, I came from a trailer park like in Louisiana, where it's nothing. I lived in West Monroe in there, and so if you know where that's at. And yeah,
I do.
And so, and I was in the country in West Monroe. So I thought it was great. I thought, man, this is wonderful. I love the job. It was so much fun. And then one night, I got promoted. I was a second head pressman, and when my head pressman was gone, I was head pressman. And so I was running this giant press. Yeah, and it was huge. I mean, it was massive thing. Whole factory. It's like this whole back of the factory was only 5 of them. It was massive. And 3 people ran the thing, and so I was running it. And our night shift was like late at night. Lunch was like at 4 a.m. So I got back from lunch, and we had broken a folding blade on the press. And so I was changing. I had taken it all apart before lunch, went to lunch, came back, and I was putting it all back together. And I slipped a wrench and right on that folding blade, and I caught my first 2 fingers. And as I picked it up, a blood stream stayed in the air, and it was just literally squirting blood out. And I couldn't move my fingers. They were stuck like this. I couldn't move them down. And I said,
"No way."
I severed my tendons. As soon as I did, I was like, I cut the tendons. I know I did.
Dude, you can move them down, though?
I couldn't move them down. I couldn't move them down.
Today you're totally fine?
Totally fine. Totally fine, yeah. And so I got a crazy story about that, too. So my boss freaked out, and he got all nervous, and he covered it up and told me to go home. It was like, we don't want to file a complaint, all this stuff, and did all this shit stuff. Wow. So the company ended up firing him and firing like so many people and all this stuff. And, I never went out. I was like, I'm not blaming anybody. It was my own stupid fault. God, dumb. I just felt bad. I was embarrassed about it, really. And,
but how old were you at that time?
I was 18. And so I had to go to a hand surgeon, and they, the next day, I went to the ER that night, and they couldn't figure it out. And they opened it up. They couldn't figure it out. They didn't want to stitch it closed. They sent me home. And then they ended up giving me painkillers and stuff. And I slept through the appointment for the next day for the hand surgeon. I showed up late. And then this hand surgeon, just so happened in Illinois where we lived, there was this world-class hand surgeon, that Dr. Noah. And he comes from a whole family of hand surgeons. Like his dad was a hand surgeon, and his grandpa was.
Sounds like a movie.
Yeah, that sounds like a movie.
Before that, a hand surgeon, and before that, a hand surgeon.
And not only that, he had this whole spiel about how he can read the face of a coin with his fingers and stuff. And he's like, pull out a coin. And I pull out a coin. That day we always had, I change with you back in the day or whatever. Give him a coin. And he literally read all the things on the coin with his finger without looking at it.
The dates, the time.
Yeah.
Kind of
the print.
The dates.
Wait.
What time is it?
And so check this out. He tells me this whole thing, and he's like, because we were talking about how the people at the ER couldn't figure out if my tendons were severed, and so he's trying to decide whether we need to go to surgery or not, right? So he takes my hand after he tells that story, and he does this. Yep, they're severed.
No way.
Dude, okay, so that coin thing stuck with me.
Rubbed his hand across your hand.
He rubbed his finger across my 2 fingers, and then he rubbed the other one and said, they're absolutely severed. We have to go to surgery. And so they took me in, severed, and they stitched it back up, and then they give you this. That was the first time I had ever been knocked out from medical. And so for full sedation. And I woke up, and I don't know if you ever had full sedation, but man, you get goofy. And
yeah.
Really goofy. And so I was, the only thing I could think about is I juggle, and I love to juggle at the time. In fact, my first question was, Doc, am I going to ever be able to juggle again? And he's like, what?
That's the question.
That's your largest concern.
Right.
I was concerned about, can I ever juggle again? It like hit me when I came out of sedation. So anyway,
cool.
I severed my tendon, and then I was like, this is shitty. This is a shitty job. Like I'm, like after all that happened, they fired everyone. I'm like, there's no job.
Were you covered under health insurance for that?
Yeah, I didn't pay for anything. It was all covered.
Okay.
Oh,
And
dude, that's nice.
That's good. Yeah.
Company,
That's
I'm like, I probably could have got to pay. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm just like, it's all together.
That probably wasn't cheap to get this.
I didn't come out of pocket to fix it, and it was fine. I had to go through therapy and all this stuff. It was like a long road to recovery.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I'm pretty ambidextrous, because I can write with my left hand for a year after I was recovered. So then I was like, I got to do something, man. And so I had this older guy that I went to school with who, like, it's like one of the guys I'd known in high school that like made a career, like an actual career. And so another friend of mine, he was like a year older than me. He's like my best friend. He's still my best friend. And we've been best friends since we were 14 years old. And he works for me now, in fact. And so we decided to go to school, and he had advised us. I went to school for nuke med. Man, I went to school. I did 1 semester for nuclear medicine. I did basically 8 months of clinicals, and then I'm working. So a year of school, and I'm working. And he was making like $60 an hour or something like that down in Texas, or 30 something. I think it was like 30 some bucks an hour or something like that. We were like, oh crap, that's great. And then some people make like $100,000 a year and all this crap. I'm like, oh, it's amazing. Let's go. This
was when was this? Because I think perspective and money.
In 2007, or 6, we probably started to try to go and started like some of the prerequisites that you had to take to qualify. Okay. And he got in, and then I didn't get in, and I got accepted as like an alternate, and I didn't get in, and so he went to school. And it's basically, I didn't get in, and I was trying to think about what program should I do and what should I do. And that was when, I don't know if you saw some of my tweets, I worked in an adult novelty store for like a year. And I was taking classes. I moved in with a friend of mine, and me and him were having a good old time. And at Eastern Illinois University. So we were living basically almost on campus, but we weren't going to school there, and causing all kinds of trouble and all this stuff. And it was great. A lot of canoe trips, a lot of river trips, a lot of hiking, a lot of fun stuff. And so,
it sounds like a great time.
And then I was like, I worked at this sandwich shop that we sold grinders. It was like a mom and pop. It was called Boxa. They don't exist anymore. Man, their sandwich is freaking amazing. This lady had this bread recipe that was like unreal sweet bread. It was unreal. And so they delivered sandwiches. I delivered sandwiches to his place. But in the same building, this guy had this collegiate store. And it was also like a head shop. And it was well known. Like it was positively 4th Street Records. And we all knew about it. This quirky dude that owned it named Kirby. Yeah. And it's just super cool dude. And a lot of people disliked him because he was really like, he hated people for the most part. So me and him get along great because I hate people too, And so he always come over to Box and get free sodas. And I was like, hey, what you got going on over there, and all this. And he was trying to open up a screen printing shop. And I was like, well, dude, I know everything about printing. Yeah, I'll tell you, I'll learn screen printing. I'll figure it out. Let's go open the shop. So he finally one day he's like, come on, man, let's do it. Hired me full time. We bought this building. He bought this building, and it was awesome, man. We built this business up from nothing. It was so cool. We did real high end printing stuff, and I know everything about screen printing. It says automatic presses, gauntlets. I did all kinds of training, all kinds of really fancy materials. In fact, I was one of the first people to screen print golf discs using plasticizer and all this. And
cool. That's pretty cool.
I have a proprietary process that I was blending and adhering the plastic. But then, it was a low-paying job, and it just wasn't good. And I wanted more, and I was trying to raise a family and stuff. I've since divorced from that, but it was tough. And I was like, I need to go back to school. I need to go back to do nuke med. He made me mad one day that I've reapplied for nuke med, and I called the director, and I was like, dude, I want back in. And he was like, you know what? You can be here next week. I got a spot for you.
Wow. Holy shit.
That's awesome.
Loaded everything up in a car and drove to Findlay, Ohio within a week. I had to get $1,000 in loans right away. And because that was the program cost back then, $15,000 to go through the whole thing.
Wow. Okay. So now like what kind of nuclear medical procedures are you familiar with?
So in that, I went to school for nuclear medicine technologist, and I became certified as a nuclear medicine technologist. I'm certified through the NMTCB.
Did you need a background for that too? Anything on like engineering or what was
It's prerequisites classes. You got to take AP, you got to take physics and some chemistry and basically all the things that you have to take for nursing. Maybe a little bit more math and physics.
So you had to go back to school because your business degree probably obviously didn't cover that.
That was after.
Right. Okay.
Yes, because I did my business degree as a working professional. So I did nuke med, and then I was working at Best Buy. I'm seeing some of my Geek Squad tweets, but I was a Geek Squad agent. I was a counter agent. You guys know what the counter agent are?
Oh yeah, that's cool. Sure. Going back to nuclear medicine, what do you know about I mean, have you heard of Gamma Knife? Do you guys work with Gamma Knife or
Gamma Knife it's not nuclear medicine. It's a radioactive therapy, a radioactive.
Okay.
It's like beam treatment. Basically, you have a really high source of radiation, radioactive material. You have a shutter that opens up, and you can move the shutter around and align it, and you basically beam.
Okay, so the difference between you said that's radioactive therapy. So
in the world of nuclear medicine, you have diagnostic and therapeutic. That's like one of the big splits. And then you have oncology, which is, you have your linear accelerators and Gamma Knife. It's really separate from nuclear medicine. In a hospital system,
that's where all my training comes from is oncology. That's all I did at MD Anderson was,
cool.
all that stuff, yeah.
And we do some of that. I do some consulting now around oncology and how to, mostly what I do now is how to use radioactive materials according to rules and safely and best practices. I'm a subject matter expert and for the nuclear medicine in a variety of agencies and a variety of reasons and for all these different things. It's a really neat field. I really enjoy it. It's really rewarding. And
so what is it? I mean, obviously you're trying to make sure everything you consult, obviously, but like what do you consult on? Like, do you consult on okay, you need this much of radium in this shot to
No, I don't do that. That's more of like the oncologist job. What I do is how do you set up this room? Where do you need to install the camera equipment at? How do I shield the walls? How do I write my licensing for the radioactive materials to possess them and use them? All of the people that use them have to be authorized users on the license. They all have to have policy and procedure. They have to have education. There's a ton of work behind the scenes. One of my former bosses told me I was really good at doing the stuff that no one else wants to do. So we made a consulting business out of it, and we sell it, and it's a premium. I mean, our consulting hourly fees are fairly, it's not cheap, and there's not a lot of experts in the field, and they're hard to get, and they're retiring all the time. So we're trying to be innovative on how we use resources and how we use experts in the field and all this. And
that's interesting.
So medical physics. I tell people that, I have a lot of people that went to pre-med that decided to go to medical physics instead. And you can go for therapy medical physics, diagnostic medical physics. And diagnostic medical physics, you're more doing equipment testing, camera validity. Is this piece of radiology equipment outputting what it says it's outputting? Is it, or is it less or more?
Were you a pretty, I don't know the right term to put, did you do well in grade school or was it something?
That was my problem. I was always bored, and I was gifted in Louisiana, and I was in an advanced program. And then I got, my mom got a new husband, and we moved to Illinois, and they didn't have gifted. I lived in the middle of country Illinois, and I was the outside kid at this country school, and it was 10 steps back, and they had no idea. And I was just bored. I mean, I was in third year French and doing college credits whenever I was started in high school, and they were, and it was back in time all of a sudden. Wow. And so I kind of rebelled and got in a lot of trouble.
So part of where some of the troubles came from were you were up here, the rest of the school was over here, and you're like, I need to get this energy out somehow. I need to do something that's going to entertain me because this education isn't doing much for me.
And I probably didn't click with that at the time. I was just doing stuff, and it was just, my mind runs a million miles a minute.
Same here. Are you ADHD?
What's that?
Are you ADHD?
Yeah, I mean, I've been diagnosed with it before, and I've been on medication before, but I don't take it today. I more just.
Yeah, I've been taking.
I'd not slow it down. I like the speed.
Yeah, I like the speed too. And it's just it gets aggravating sometimes because I'll be working on a topic and then I'll immediately flip around and be like, that's something cool I want to work on, and then just immediately go off. And dude, the medication that they put you on, I took Adderall for 7 years, and I cannot explain to you. Like, I thought I was going mentally insane. I thought I had like demons inside me that I couldn't control. But turns out, taking amphetamines, which is pretty much meth, for 7 years, that happens.
Probably messes with your head a little bit.
And it works to me, like Adderall and those things work on me like speed. So it doesn't calm me down. It gets me just like, it engages me, and like I'm doing that thing for the next 18 hours.
Did you get Sean? Did you get easily irritated when you had it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I would probably say some. Yeah, I mean, I got in a lot of trouble when I was on it too.
There was this one time where long story, but I ended up writing like a really aggressive, nasty email to one of my professors in college because, and then the next morning she calls me in and she's like, "We need to talk," and I was like, "Oh boy," it's like in Limitless when he's like, pretty much when it kicks off and you're like back into reality and you're like, oh no.
And I learned that I learned a really good method for that in my business program. I've been through a ton of leadership programs, like intense ones, like Larry Face's leadership program I took in Florida was amazing. It was like a 8 week or 12 week or something program. And it was incredible. And, one of the things I learned throughout this is how to communicate effectively when you want change, right? And so I had a great example of this. I was going to Webster University, and we had a deal with the school, with my employer, where they would pay on the back end. I would go take my college credits, and they would award the grade or whatever, and they would submit the bill, and then my hospital would pay me, and I would pay the place. On the back end, it was like this whole thing. And I did it for like the first year and a half or something, fine, along with a ton of other employees.
Yeah. And
they changed something to where you had to pay up front for all the students or something. And it was like a weird payment structure. And I don't think they fully understood the implications of how it affected programs that had agreements, right? And so the registrar was basically like, we're not doing anything to help you. Forget about it. This is you're basically, they were unenrolling me from my classes unless I came up with like this chunk of change.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. And so I ended up writing a really nice letter and an email, and I wrote it over a series of a couple days, and I used a communication tool called SBAR, which is situation, background, assessment, and recommendation. So you're basically telling them, this is the situation of what's going on. Here's the background of how we got here. Here's my assessment of what all this means to me and how it impacts me, and then here is my recommendations on how to make this better.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was really. And what's funny is I got in a shouting match basically with the registrar, and the registrar ended the conversation by saying, "There's nothing I can do about this. This is a global policy across all Webster campuses, and if you want to do something, you talk to the CEO." And I said, "Well, fine. What's the CEO?" and like a snarky thing, he gave me their email address, and so I mentioned them in my email about their attitude and how they treated me and all these things. I was really professional, super professional. SBAR'd it out, and I even told him in the beginning, I'm trying out a communication tool that we use in the hospital systems. It was developed by the Department of Defense, and it's a valid method of expressing some frustrations. To just hear me out. And he wrote me back. Him and his COO, actually the COO wrote me back. The CEO sent it to him, and he was like, wow. He's like, we are just so happy to have you as a student and to show off your skills and the way you've expressed this problem. Not only did you come to this with the problem, but you came to this with recommendations on how to solve this problem. And in fact, we are using your recommendations, and this is now a global policy change. And we are terribly sorry for what we did to you and how we didn't understand how it affected you. And they changed it the next day. In fact, I got a phone call from my local office the next day, and from the president, and they were like, "What did you do?"
Oh man!
They were like, "Holy crap!" I got a call from the CEO of the whole entire school, or whatever, the president of the school, and so they reinstated all of us at the school, and they used this as an example on one of our leadership retreats at the hospital as why we should be using SBAR.
Kind of want to hear about your story really quickly, maybe like 5 minutes, because we're coming up on the hour and 12-minute mark. It's been flying by.
No. A 4-hour long form like Joe Rogan.
I mean, we don't, as far as what we do, we don't really have a limit. It's more when either when you start falling asleep or when we start falling asleep. So I have
to spend about an hour and a half on the Peloton to take hold.
Dude, okay, so can we talk about that really quickly? Me and him have been in a competition on Apple Watch, and it takes a minute for your Apple Watch or your Peloton to like sync up with your Apple Watch and like kick in. So I'll be sitting there and be like, okay, I've got
It takes 15 minutes for them to connect?
No. It takes a minute. It like, for some reason,
Oh,
whenever
I was
he's on the
gonna say-
Peloton, it just doesn't immediately link.
Get the data back over.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's just whatever. And I'll be like, okay, he's at 400 calories. I'm fine. And then I'll be like studying, and I'll
turn
look
around,
over.
like,
I'll look over, and you can ask Scotty about this. I'll look over, look at my watch, and see that, you know, he's jumped up to like 900 calories. So I'll be like, fuck. So like I hurry up and run outside, and he had me sprinting outside at like 10:30 at night because I had to catch up.
You can't. You got to close the rings, and then only closing the rings only gives you 300 points, and you got to. There's 600 points available, so you got to make up those other points between either increasing your move, like over amounting your move goal, or increasing. And every third, and your exercise blocks are in 30-minute increments, so it's like you're not even. I don't think you get the points until you do another 30 minutes or something like that. I believe, and then every stand hour is worth like 8.3 points or something. So you can.
I haven't looked at the points. I've just been like raw dogging. I was like, all right, just gotta go run.
I just know because because the other night I'm like at 592, and I'm like, okay, it's like 10 o'clock. If I get my stand goal for 10 and 11, I don't have to do anything else.
Just stand up.
So people don't realize with the Peloton, with the old version, you can sync up your Apple Watch to get your heart rate into it with an app called Heartcast, I think it is, or something like that. Heartcast. Yeah, Heartcast. Right. And it'll sync up, and it'll sync your heart rate up to your Peloton, so it'll bring in your heart rate data. Otherwise, you have to put the stupid strap on you, and it's kind of dumb. But the newest Peloton, you can just ding your Apple Watch up to it, and it automatically syncs you up. But you got to pay like $400-600 more for the newest one, so save some money.
So yes, Cole, were you asking Sean your story?
Oh yeah. Can you like briefly go over your story of?
It sounds
like a really insane story. If you want to say it, you can.
You can definitely decline. You can definitely decline. We won't be offended.
Or you could tell the story.
Which part of the story?
Oh, the prison thing. What happened there?
I can't tell all the story, but it was definitely wrong. Those are the classic, or fall into the wrong group of people. You get set up by undercover FBI agents or undercover state DA, and then you go and they make a really big deal out of something that was more of an addiction than it was necessarily a horrible crime against humanity. And it was in a time where they really publicized it, and we made media news and all this. Wow. And they blew it up to be something a lot bigger than it was. And we ended up going to juvenile hall. I'll tell them. I got so many stories from that. I won't tell all of them what happened. But basically, a couple Class X felonies, kingpinning, organized crime.
You don't look or appear to.
Yeah, you don't look like
at all.
Are you sure you're not making all this up right now?
What truly happened was a person that had turned state's evidence that I was working somewhere and made a connection with someone through something, and they had told a lie to they were an informant, and they had told an untrue story, and that story turned into us getting arrested and them trying to. They basically told them that we worked for the mafia. And so they thought
any mafia or just the mafia?
Some mafia out of Chicago. The police wouldn't even fully tell us what their evidence was. What they told us. But we were held without bail for about 90 days, or 67 days at first.
Wow.
Holy cow.
So and I entered into juvenile hall there, and I was there for a couple of weeks, and I was arrested with a friend, and we both were 17, and we turned 18 while we were in jail. And as we turned 18, and in fact, I was on lockdown on my birthday. And so as we turned 18, the arresting officer was so nasty in court and said we were flight risks and we were terrible human beings and shouldn't be on the streets and we need to be in prison for the rest of our life and all that stuff. That's crazy. And so he was nasty, and I'll never forget him because he had this port wine stain over half his face, and I'll never forget the guy. Wow. And so he just told us really nasty things in court, and it's not true. And so we ended up while we were in the juvenile system, we had like all kinds of psychological analysis and all this stuff, like to assess us. Like, who are you? Why you're out of state and all this stuff. We were way out of state. It was crazy. And so leave on vacation, go back on probation. And they told the judge, like, these guys are geniuses, both of them. They're geniuses. Like, they're really smart. Just really
They're
stupid right now.
Yeah, the wrong crowd doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And all these police people, that are saying are just not founded. I can't see this. It doesn't match up at all.
Yeah.
And so basically, at the end of the day, they wanted us to turn state's evidence and give all the story that we had on the mafia and all this stuff. And we're like,
you don't have anything. You don't have anything.
There's
Yeah.
nothing to turn in.
Not in the mafia.
Yeah.
So ultimately, we basically had to say, okay, we'll give you everything we have. And that's all the court wanted, was like us to sign something to say, we give you everything. And like, they just wanted to like put it behind them, and they basically adjudicated us, which means you're guilty but juveniles, and you're not, it's time served. And we had like 1 year of probation. Now, we also had to go to something called Lincoln's Challenge, which was a boot camp. It's like an 8-month boot camp program. However, I had my high school diploma. I got it the day we got arrested, and I didn't. That exempted me from going. They wouldn't even.
Oh.
And my the person that I got arrested with, he had to go to the challenge.
Wow, that's
which later I lost some college funds for him, but he unfortunately is squandered his life a bit. He's not as fortunate.
Yeah, there's people that make stupid life decisions. I got a friend that
making the bad decisions, and I changed. I really did. I truly did.
Do you think that helped you out at all? Like going through that?
Dude, there's no doubt in my mind that changed everything. It changed everything up until that point. I was a completely different person. Yeah, and it changed everything. I mean, I'm still like fundamentally like a lot of the same things, but I'm like, oh my gosh, there's consequences for actions, and like there's a life to do, there's stuff to do. I was, it was bad. I was in a bad place, and so totally changed everything, and opened up a lot of opportunities too, and even like during the process, like I had so many interactions in there and experiences. Like I told part of the story on Twitter about because I was watching the Queen's Gambit on Netflix. Have you seen that yet?
No, my mom watched it. She said it was really insane. Like, it's really good.
It is amazing. It is incredible, especially if you play chess. And I love chess. I have been a chess player. In fact, I am a rated chess player. Back in the day, I used to play some competitive chess.
I've never learned.
Nice.
I used to play grandmasters, and I don't know if like officially grandmasters, but I mean I played all.
But did you ever play against the old guy in the park under the tree? With those little concrete tables. That's the guy you have to beat.
That's the guy. That's the very last scene in Queen's Gambit. But so
everybody knows that guy.
And the very first time they play chess, though, there's something he does to her that is just a super dick move. And he does he's teaching her how to play chess, right? And so when you're teaching people how to play chess, because I've taught a ton of people how to play chess, I love it, and so I have a method for teaching people how to play chess. But he goes right into doing a scholar's mate on her, which is like a 3-move mate or whatever.
Yeah.
And it really is. It's a slap in your face move that you do to someone that either you want to insult them or that you caught them by surprise. But it's a dick move. It's and he does it to her in the first scene. So I tweet about that. I'm like, I actually did that to a guy in my first day in county jail because we were in juvie, and they decided while we were in juvie that we were adults. They were trying us as adults. They were trying to try us as adults.
Yeah.
And so we had to go through a process. We had to go through a trial to decide whether or not we were adults. And during that trial, we aged out of juvie, so they put us in county and they separated us.
Wow.
And it was rough. It was
That sounds like it. That sounds terrifying. I'm sure you all were
like no kidding. People died in the cell when I was there. Like someone threw a guy off the balcony, broke his neck.
Wow.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was no bad.
Dang.
Like there was 38 of us in a room made for 14. So
Jesus.
Yeah,
So
that's
y'all were
packed.
crammed.
Yeah.
The first week I slept on a bedroll on the floor in the open space. It wasn't about a week into it, a week and a half into it that I got a bunk, and then I got upgraded from a bunk to a room after about a couple of weeks later because I became a little bit of a hustler in jail, and all my friends back home gave me a ton of commissary money, so I had like a loaded bank account while I was in there.
So you've always been good at trading and stuff.
I have always had
a businessman.
I've always had an edge to things. personal natures, and maybe one of the reasons I was arrested. But I'm entrepreneurial, and I try to find opportunity wherever the opportunity is. And there's a lot of gray areas in life. So today I am up above the straight and narrow, and it's all good. But,
I think you should have like a GIF that sums up you. There's a GIF of Donald Trump whenever he's debating Hillary, and he's like, "I'm a businessman doing business things," and I feel that just sums you up just perfectly.
Yeah.
That's good.
Pretty much. So, I guess. And so I trade commissary. You give someone something this week, and they give you 2 of the item the next week. That's you run a store, and I ran a jail store.
No way.
I'm not kidding. And I ran a hustle. I ran a good hustle. I had we had figured out how to dye the Coca-Cola bottles, because they only let you keep so many bottles in your room and things. And so then you couldn't keep empties. So we would dye Coca-Cola bottles and then store them in people's room that didn't have commissary, and we would use them for weights. And so we would make fake Coca-Cola bottles, like they look like Cokes, and we would put them in pillowcases and use them as weights. I made hacky sacks in there and sold hacky sacks. I wrote poetry and sold poetry.
No way.
I drew and sold cards for, like, because there was like really not smart people in jail. I'm not saying I'm taking advantage of them. Like,
probably the case for jail. Yeah,
they have people that they're trying to impress back home, and they want to say nice things, and they want to apologize for things, and they don't have the words.
Yeah.
And so they would sit me and tell me things that they want to say to people. It's sad, but it's poetic.
Yeah,
and and I would draw, and I would write out poetry for people, and like it would inspire me to write things. And I wrote pages and pages and pages, and I wrote like people I knew back home, and it like created this whole like pen pal thing. It was really cool.
Wow. So that definitely occupied a lot of your time.
Now,
It did, yes. And so
kept you from boredom.
It absolutely did. So the scholars made things. So the first day in county, I get in, and they're playing chess, and I was kind of trying to find my place, and they said, "Hey, you want to play for breakfast?" A big black dude. And I think they actually called him Big Black.
Okay.
Very descriptive.
Yeah.
And he says, "Let's play." And there was this other guy, big white dude, and his name was D Moore.
Oh, not Big White.
And he wasn't Big White. D Moore. And big, I mean, built dude, huge. Always walk around in his skivvies, just huge white dude. And me and he looked after me. He was like, I'm gonna keep you safe in here, dude. Like, straight up. And he pretended a couple times, like, mess with me, like, I'm gonna rape you right now.
Oh God!
Like they mess like the first
Not
time
a good joke.
Not
it was
funny.
after the fact it was funny, but the first shower I took, 3 of them came up to my shower stall and opened it. And it's like, it's time, dude. It's time.
Oh jeez, bro.
And they weren't like playing either. Like I think that actually, if I didn't stand there and like ball my fists and be like, you come try me, let's go. They were going. Right?
Bro, no way.
That was county?
I was a fighter, so I can't tell all the stories because
that was county.
Yes, it was county. So I mean, the first time I actually had to prove myself, this guy stole my pillow, and he took my pillow. And when I first got in, he took my pillow off my bedroll and threw it under. He's like, "It's my pillow now." And I used some terms that I'm not proud of, and I don't feel that way, but I felt like I had to establish some dominance.
Yeah. I mean, it's a different world.
And your nose, and I jumped back and I started diving into him, and he snatched my pillow, and he's like, "I'm playing with you, man. I'm playing with you. I'm just testing you, man. I'm just testing you. Calm down." And I was like, "All right, that's how it's gonna be." And so I'll get back to the story. So I sit down. This guy, he's like, "I'm gonna play you in breakfast." I was like, "All right, let's play. I'll play you in chess." And so I don't even know the rules in there. I don't know nothing. I sit down. I start playing this guy in chess. And I scholar mated him, and so it's like the 3-move mate, and he flipped the board over and came at me like he was going to kill me. And people had to jump over and grab him and pull him back. I was like, no.
Bro.
I thought he was going to kill me. I thought that
Holy
was it.
shit.
Just out of a game. Yeah, there's like rage quitting, and then there's like this next level.
Because that's cool. And then after that, I got to know people, and there was some really good people in there, to be honest. It really was. And it made me really sad for the state of our penal system and everything. Most people in there for drugs.
How do you feel about the current, private prison system? Do you think like
it's ridiculous? It absolutely was ridiculous. It's when you privatize these things, there has to be a profit, and where's the profit? profit comes from incarcerating people. And so
Yep.
then why do you incarcerate people? Well, I'm going to pay lobbyists to keep the laws, so I keep incarcerating people, like marijuana, for example. It's ridiculous.
Businessman doing business things, right?
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It absolutely
For
is.
the
And
worst reason. For the worst reasons.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
It's
It really
so
is.
weird because everybody I talk to about privatized prisons, even if they don't know about it, they're like, "Holy shit, there's privatized prison. Why is this a thing?" And then whenever
Yeah.
you bring up
It's
that
so messed up.
that they have privatized stock in private prisons, you're like, "Why are we trading?"
It's crazy.
Private.
Have you guys show what is it? It's where they're locked up for 60 days. They take it's like a reality show where they take people and they lock them in jail, in county jails, to test their systems and like all this. It's crazy.
No, I haven't seen that. Where can you find it at?
Where can I watch it?
Is it on
It's
Netflix?
Yeah,
Or
it's
no?
on A&E. I think it's on. I think it might just have popped up on Netflix. Actually,
Yeah.
it just did recently. I just canceled my Netflix because anytime they increase the price, I cancel for a few months. So
Yeah.
Let him know he's lost. Assert your dominance, you know.
I rotate. So I go to Amazon Prime a few months. I don't do Prime delivery because they don't deliver on the promise. So I just
They do not. They do not.
Really? You guys don't? For Louisiana, they're always on time.
They have been like, it's like a week. If you get something on Prime, it literally takes
No
like a week.
way.
And most of their
They're pretty good over here.
And then on top of that, you get free shipping if you just order over $25. So what's the
Yeah.
point?
Or even Walmart gives you free 2-day shipping now.
Everything
so-
Walmart orders you free shipping. So I don't
Yeah.
do.
So like,
But I do Prime Video now, and I like Prime Video. They got a lot of good stuff on there. They got a lot of good Simon Pegg stuff on there. I really like Simon Pegg.
oh
and,
yeah. I forgot about. Have you seen Paul, the movie where they have the alien and Simon Pegg?
No, I haven't. I need to watch that.
Go watch that
Seth
movie.
MacFarlane?
Huh?
That's not Seth MacFarlane.
No. It's Simon Pegg. It's Seth Rogen voices Paul.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is fantastic. It is amazing. It's
I love Seth Rogen. Oh man.
There's a great show with Simon Pegg with aliens in it that is on Prime.
I haven't heard of that.
And
I have no idea what it is.
They give them the power to do anything. I think it's called Do Anything or something like that.
Oh, I need to go watch that.
It's
Is it
amazing. It's
good?
hilarious. And in fact, it is the very last movie, if I'm remembering right, that has all of the Monty Python.
Oh my
cast.
God.
Wow.
5 remaining members of Monty Python. I asked that on my Twitter not so long ago. What was the last movie that had the last? And everybody was like, Life of Brian. Life of Brian. Like, no, it's not actually.
Huh.
That's Simon Pegg movie.
So,
They all play minor roles, but yeah.
Sean, I wanted to ask you a little bit about 3D printing and kind of what got you into that. And I've always literally, since the day that stuff came out, before it was even, like accessible for people to want to get into that, I always wanted it. I still, my primary reason for not having gone into it yet, I'm not like intimidated by it, but I don't know the right machine to get. I don't know the right, spools to get. I don't know, the right product. I don't know the right software. So what are some... Oh, is that a stand? Oh, that's the stand you made. I didn't know the stand.
Bro.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool.
And look, it has TPU.
And it has the Tesla logo. Is that the Tesla logo on there?
Yeah.
That's so sweet. And since they're not selling it, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fan base. So
what do you need to get? Like, what's a good starter setup? What software? What printer?
I always wanted to get into 3D printing the same way. I was like, man, I want to do it someday so bad. Oh my gosh, I want to do it. And I like 3D design. I was doing VR design and all this stuff. So I'm playing with 3D software and all this. And I really wanted to do it. So I had made a promise to myself. Basically I hit a trading goal and I had set aside some money from trading. And I said, I'm going to use that money to invest in, 3D printer. And I did a lot of research before it. And I went with a Prusa or whatever, Prusa. And I have the i3 MK3S, the newest version, basically so it's their like medium size newest version printer.
So what's that machine go for?
Around 1,000. I think unassembled. I think it's $899 or $799.
Okay. Did you get unassembled or assembled?
I got unassembled. I like to assemble things, so I like to build things.
Okay.
It took me like 10 hours or something to build time.
Wow.
So, have you ever heard of topology optimization?
Yeah, you were talking about. I was looking some of that up after you mentioned to me, and yeah, I definitely seen it. It was how do you use natural stress points to create a 3D map to have a more more intuitive and cool looking design, that's also strong and
it gives it an organic look to me. Like it looks like some of the shit that you would see on like an alien spaceship. You're like, oh, this is where we go from just right angles. We go to these weird.
Pretty neat stuff. But what I do, probably a lot of people criticize for how I do my design work, but it's simple and it does what I need it to do. I use Tinkercad. Tinkercad is extremely simple. It's built by the same people that built Fusion 360, and I talk about it on Twitter all the time. I talk about Reddit all the time with 3D printing forums. And anytime I bring it up on Reddit, everybody's like bashing it. They're like, you got to learn, original coding, go through and do blah blah blah, and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, you can, and that's cool. But every time for me, when I have to redo something in Fusion, like I have to go watch 5 YouTube videos to relearn how to build my canvas. That's ridiculous. And so with Tinkercad, you just jump right in and you start creating. And if you get creative and inventive, you can get really complex with it. But mostly what I do is find models that I like and things that I like, and I attach things to them. Like this mic stand, I took a thread from something that I found on Thingiverse, and then everything else was custom. I created the Tesla logo, actually.
Yeah.
I use some software where I take basically a transparent GIF. I make a transparent GIF using Photoshop. So if I take a logo, for example.
And then what? And then give it some.
So here's how I extrude it out. Here's how I do it. This is guys probably get, if this ever catches some steam, I'm probably sure I'll get flamed for this, but I go and take a logo with a white background, whatever. I throw it into Photoshop and I use magic, trace tool or whatever. And I do a inverse select and I copy it as a layer and I delete the background out of the layer. And then I save that as a transparent GIF. And then I open up a program, which one's,
that's really interesting.
It's, I convert it to a SVG.
Gotcha. SVG. Yeah, I don't 3D print very often, so I've never used that file.
So what is it called?
I've never 3D printed.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the program.
We actually have an original MakerBot. My dad does.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and 3D printing has come a very long way in the last 10 years.
They can 3D print pancakes now, too. They have machines.
I saw that.
So cool.
Yeah, it basically.
So cool, man.
Yeah, so basically it's like a skillet, and then they just have like an injector, like that just injects the pancake batter on the skillet.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, so like
I'll have to find the software, but
it's completely fine.
I convert the transparent GIF to an SVG. And SVG is just a scalable vector graphic, that's all that is. And then I take the SVG and I go to a website called SVG2STL. and I upload the SVG to the website and it maps out and you just tell it how much you want to extrude it, like 3 millimeters or whatever, and it gives me a wonderful STL. It does a great job. That's how I convert my logos. So if I'm creating like a company logoed something, that's how I do it. I can convert any company's logo to an STL like that. And then I take this and I put it into Tinkercad and I do whatever I want with it, in Tinkercad. And then Tinkercad's got a lot of really cool tools with it. And when you find like functional items, like in Thingiverse, it's like this hinge. Yeah, hinge really works well. I like this hinge. I'll save that hinge as a favorite part. And then in my next project,
and you can just combine it with a new project.
These feet, I have these feet saved as a favorite part, and whenever I want to use them, I upload them as desktop feet or whatever, and I have them in all these different projects that I want to have a stable base for.
So talking about logos and everything, did you know that whenever you printed out Earl of Front Puppy's logo onto a trailer pitch for his Model X, that he would immediately start calling everybody peasants?
Yeah, and didn't even thank me on Twitter. Didn't even tag me in the post when he put it on Twitter, and I gave it to him.
Dang, bro.
Yo.
And you own a Model X, so you're not a peasant. So he should have given.
I'm not throwing. I love Earl, man. He didn't even.
Wow.
Tag me in the post.
All right, so he's not coming on the podcast now.
Yeah, so we were supposed to have him on the podcast, and he was like, it was like maybe 3 days before, and he was like, all right, I'm going off Twitter. See you guys later. And I was
there was a stage where a lot of people were just go, I'm done with Twitter. It's like, okay, all right.
I love Twitter, man. And people don't get me down. People get me down, I block them. See you later, man. You talk trash.
The only thing. I can't stand the fleets. I'm not a fan of the fleets.
I'm not either.
I wish there was a way to hide that. I wish there was some way to just hide it. Yeah.
I hate it. I hate that they brought stories to Twitter.
Yeah, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have
There's too many stories.
Snapchat. We don't need more stories.
I'm not trying to look at your picture.
Give me my stream.
I don't do Facebook. I don't do Instagram.
Yeah. Just and that's why I was like, I don't want all that. I just want a nice stream. You know?
I don't get on Twitter to look at people's pictures unless it's like a meme.
Can we talk about why Instagram added a shopping cart to Instagram?
Because there's going to be Instagram stores where you can purchase stuff from influencers.
It's too much, man.
I mean, like I feel that's too much because right now all Facebook and Instagram are used for is like they're now today's infomercials. Like all useless shit that you never need are there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it's pretty sad. I don't do it. I don't like social media.
Hoping Twitter doesn't end up going that way. That was one of the things that was nice about Twitter. It was just a public open.
You were never harassed by companies for their products. Like,
dude,
you go on Instagram and you're scrolling for a few minutes and there's a product shoved in your face. You know,
Twitter has had a rough ass year. You guys remember whenever those I don't remember like the Bitcoin scammers got into.
Oh yeah.
I was just sitting there watching all these verified people go join, and I was like, holy shit! And like, all I could think of whenever I saw one was whenever you remember, I can't remember what it was, but anyway, there's a picture of Leonardo DiCaprio and he's drinking a beer and he's pointing at the television like really intently. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. No, that was me the entire night. I was just sipping a beer, going, holy shit, another one. Yeah, they had a bad year.
That was pretty bad.
So moving on, what would your next electric vehicle be? Like if you could not get a Tesla, what would your next electric vehicle be? It could be coming out.
I love my Teslas, but I have a Model X too. But I have some criticisms. Sometimes like I tweet him at Elon. I'm always telling him, hey, I tweeted him today. He's talking about software improvements. I'm like, whenever I leave
we did just get an update tonight. I don't know if you got that. There was an update that came in.
I'll have to check it. But when I'm driving in the winter up here, you lose regen in the beginning, so your car drives differently. Like replace that with braking. That should be seamless. Your car should not depending on the outside temperature. So if regen isn't working, replace it with braking. That should be.
You would probably just be told just preheat your car. Like fine.
But that doesn't work because you have to be scheduled preheat, and then I don't leave on schedule. I'm going to leave tomorrow at 3 p.m. I'm not going to leave again the next day at 3 p.m. or next week on Thursday at 3 p.m. or Friday at 3 p.m. No. So one-time scheduled departure events, that needs to be a thing. I want to leave this afternoon at 3 p.m. Preheat my car, charge my car. That should be a thing. Lockable driver profiles. That drives me nuts. If for example, you guys saw my post where a deer hit my Model X and broke the window. And so right now I'm not driving the X because Tesla can't come here they were supposed to come here next week. Now it's 2 more weeks, because they have to order the window. So I'm not driving the Model X for 2 weeks. So she's driving my Model 3, and every time she drives my Model 3, she gets out and changes the easy exit profile every time, and she sets it all close. I can't get in the damn car, and I'm like, why are you doing that? Why are you hitting save? And she's like, I'm not doing it. I didn't do it. I'm like, you did though. It's different now than when you used it, and it's never different. So it's like,
I'm surprised it doesn't just like automatically pick up from your phone, like register. Oh, this is this person, and
that
get
was
in.
One of two things. Either tie that, but you need to tie the easy exit to the driver profile. So this driver is going to want a different easy exit than the other because it moves too far for her.
I love that's a great feature, by the way. It's like one of the first things I do. Yeah,
but I can't use it if we're using the vehicle together because she'll change the settings, or my settings are too much for her. So she stops it, and when she stops it, she saves it, and so it's annoying. So tie exit. Have the driver profile set a setting for
easy entry and easy exit,
or lock the driver profiles.
It's sure. I thought I remember too. Even if you use different key cards, it should relate to the right profile, right?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Getting back to the original question, what would let's say you're a man, you like driving in pickup trucks. Okay, hang on. Let me rephrase that. What I meant to say was you're a man that's driven trucks before, but it came out you're a man that likes trucks. What I meant to say was you're a guy that likes pickup trucks because you drove a Nissan in the past. What do you think about all the electric trucks coming out?
Yes, I of course I ordered Cybertruck right away. when I woke up.
Night one.
So night one, I was pretty heartbroken, I guess is the word.
Oh, from the design, were you like, okay?
No, I don't know. Like I was thrown for a loop. Let's say.
I think
everybody was thrown through a loop.
Everyone was.
Yeah. It was shocking. But I went to sleep, and I woke up in the greatest mood and excited, super excited about it. Like it hit me in a dream or something. Like when I woke up, I was so excited. I couldn't get to my computer and use it fast. Did I just freeze or something?
Yeah. You did.
So there was technical difficulties. Sorry, but back to the podcast.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Want to bring back Cole's question one last time so it doesn't get cut off. So if you had to switch, with some of the ones that are out there, even including ones that are prototypes or pre-prototypes, what have you been looking into? Well, you were talking about Cybertruck actually before that. But I didn't like the look of it the night either when I first came out. I was like, this is a joke. This is a joke. There's no way
I thought that too.
The funny thing was, I still had my credit card out, and as soon as it was like Cybertruck Reservation Live, I'm like, okay, all right, I'm in. Even though I don't really, and then it grew on. For me, I'm like, I think you have to admit, like, it's a ridiculous looking thing.
I think it's amazing.
It's a normal looking thing.
I love the design. I love it now.
I love the design, but it's obviously crazy. And I think that's what makes it's wild, and like that's kind of why I like it. It's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing. I like a lot of the features that are in it. I bought the dual motor, and then whenever they said the tri motors are going to be delivered sooner, I upgraded to the tri motor. So it's going to be incredible. I can't wait. And that was one of the reasons I bought my original Tesla shares. I'm like, I'm going to hold these until the Cybertruck.
Get your Cybertruck paid for by Tesla shares.
Yeah, and they're worth like $30,000 now. So I'm close. I'm getting there.
Yeah. Do you think there's one of the things that I've been trying to figure out? So I have 4 Cybertrucks on order. My thought is entirely why I have 4 is for the goal of being able to have a mini robotaxi fleet, right?
Yeah.
If I might still try to get at least one, if not, but my hope is that full self-driving robotaxi will be enabled by the time I get my Cybertruck. Okay. Do you believe, do you have FSD on your car, or at least the?
I have it on my Model 3.
Do you think that by the time the Cybertruck is out, production ready, off the assembly line, into customers' hands, do you think we'll have robotaxi around?
Like commercial robotaxi, I don't
commercial, not like where someone still has to be behind the wheel, like no level 4, no level 5, full autonomy.
You guys Tesla fans aren't gonna like my answer, but I don't.
It's fine. Hey, the truth will set you free, man.
I love Tesla and I love the cars. I think there's awesome opportunity, like with Kathy Wood saying, that I think there's an Uber-like opportunity where Tesla drivers the car and there's a great rideshare network. I don't know why we're not capitalizing on that and doing that right now. They should.
Yeah. That was one of my biggest thoughts too. Was there's literally, besides maybe insurance and some other pieces, there's no reason why they can't just say, let's enable an Uber-like service today and start making money and test the system. And you're building the database too for Dojo's not out yet, but
and a Turo-like system where you can rent something. I would be more willing to rent my Tesla out to another person in a Tesla app than to have it be
robotaxied
on a robotaxi. Because there's just so many edge cases. I mean, I know he's trying to figure it out, and I hope he does. And it amazes me seeing these full self-driving videos. It's really incredible, and it makes me think that it probably can, but can it do absolutely everything? Like, will you have to go rescue the thing sometimes? Will you have to? And that's what I wonder. Like, is he going to enable some remote control feature? Like, you got a fleet of them. Maybe you have a dashboard.
Maybe that's part of it. Yeah. So
your vehicle A has a problem. You got to log in and
so someone has to go in and just manually kind of adjust it and get it back.
Which makes it a remote missile. You can control it and hit people. So
that wouldn't be the that probably honestly wouldn't be the worst outcome. So say you own 10 robotaxis. Majority, I'd say like 95% of the time, everything's going to work perfectly fine.
And then there's the edge
for those. Yeah, and then with those edge cases, maybe you have a guy behind a computer, and maybe it's just a normal Joe Schmo, or maybe it's someone at the mothership is actually let me go ahead and get around. That's what they're doing for Waymo, right?
So are you ready for the super conspiracy theory?
Yes.
Hit it. That's what we like here.
No, just like this. And this is not my belief, by the way, but it has.
We'll take it.
This has been a thought because there has been other companies that have done this. I trust Tesla. I believe Tesla 100%. Believe Elon. I mean, there's but hey, conspiracy theories are fun sometimes.
Yeah.
So what if there's a group of 200 people that are sitting behind the scenes making sure those 20 people on Twitter that are full self-driving are all making sure they're driving well by sitting behind the scenes. Oh, it drove slightly different this time. Well, maybe because someone else was driving. There's been so many cases of where someone said this is AI doing this, but yet it was a remote person simulating it. I forget any concrete examples I can spit off the tip of my tongue, but there has definitely been cases where they said this is AI, but it was absolutely a person behind the scenes doing it.
I feel like that's a pretty plausible conspiracy theory.
It's me over that. I don't.
Of course,
there's some information.
It has been a thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad one.
No, I mean it's
more absurd ones out there, obviously.
I hope it. My Tesla impresses me all the time. There's times when it starts ping ponging. Now that's fixed. There's been times where, it does something weird because I drive all the time from I post about this all the time because it's frustrating. But I drive from Cincinnati to Indianapolis and back, and I have to charge my car 100% to leave and get back with about 5 to 10% remaining. Mm-hmm. And if it's cold, I can't do it. If it's too cold, I can't do it. I have to stop and charge. So
how long is that drive?
It's not 325 miles.
Yeah, obviously.
250 something.
Anyway, you were saying.
So it doesn't hit, but so I see changes all the time when I'm making that trip. I make a trip every other week, and I constantly see evolution in the software, and it impresses the hell out of me. And I love that he takes feedback from Twitter people and incorporates it. It's awesome seeing that what I called the Twitter 20 that got FSD beta that we've been
still waiting in New York.
Yeah, Earl's never getting that shit.
Have you guys experienced it, Steven?
So as far as I know, nobody, including none of our members and no Tesla owners in New York State, have the beta yet. The rationale was that it's probably going to be towards warmer climate, more arid climates first, but then Dirty Tesla got it in Michigan, Kim got it in Rhode Island, and I'm like, how's this whole New York? I'm like, it snowed once in October, but other than that, it's been all right here, So I think we'll end up seeing it. There was a tweet from Elon today, I think, that said about another month or so. So hoping that we get to see it here shortly. I'm thinking maybe another.
That'd be cool. It'd be awesome if it was a Christmas update. Because last year,
Christmas update,
last year was the FSD beta preview in Christmas, right? Wasn't that whenever?
It was. I know it was around winter time, I believe. Man, I know too many updates, which is fine. I'm fine with the updates. Keep them coming.
Yes.
So I'm excited. I didn't buy it in my Model X because it's expensive and it doesn't. I don't necessarily. I don't know how long I'll hold the Model X. To be honest, like I kind of wanted to get a Y and
really over the X.
X is just, I like it. It's great.
The X is awesome. That's my besides the Cybertruck. Like I want an X.
Well, I'm trying to convince the family to trade the X in for the
Y?
Cybertruck.
Oh, for the Cybertruck. That's it.
Yeah, 3 because I was going to trade the 3 in for the Cybertruck, but I don't know. We'll see.
What gripes do you have with the Cybertruck?
What I have the Cybertruck?
Not Cybertruck, but with the Model X. What would make you want to switch over?
It's just like Elon says, a Fabergé egg. I'm not a Fabergé egg kind of person. I'm a utilitarian kind of guy a little bit in more ways, and I like utility vehicles and
gotcha.
Practicality. It's practical. It's cool. It's expensive. It's neat. I like not having gas. That to me, not going.
It's a nice feeling never having to go to the gas station.
So that I don't participate in that is huge for me, and I think that is something that a lot of people miss. It's like, well, yeah, you're paying more, but I don't have to participate in that, so that's cool for me.
What type of interior did you get in your Tesla? Because the other day I was on Twitter and I started seeing just a bunch of these rich kids. I don't know where they got their money from, but they got the white interior.
Tesla call options.
Yeah, and then they just throw spaghetti in the back of it and start pouring tomato sauce all over the white. And I'm like, oh my god!
Or explode a pumpkin in the back,
Dude, Jeremy, that's how I got introduced.
Junkins did that.
Yeah, right. I know.
That's how I got introduced to Jeremy.
I have 3 kids, so they make a mess. And our Model X is the 7-seater white interior, and then our Model 3 is the black interior. And I tell you what, it's easier to keep the white seats clean than it is the black seats. The black seats get white marks on them. And the white seats don't. They don't get any marks on them. They are beautiful. The only thing they get is like crumbs in the corner.
Okay, hon, another question. Do you think that the white seats are softer? I swear they're softer. Like, they feel more supple. I don't know if it's just
more firm than my Model 3 seats, but the Model X seats are more luxurious than the Model 3 seats.
Yeah. So I got a question though. I'm seeing all these people like just pour fucking tomato sauce on those seats. Do you think that'll come off, or you think that's in there?
I think it's definitely going to seep in.
I was just wondering.
It depends on if it goes down the cracks or not.
Well, because everybody says.
So it's
because everybody says like it's the white seats in the Tesla are amazing, especially because you think they would just like mark up pretty quickly, but they don't.
They're the best to keep clean, in my opinion. They're the easiest. In fact, we were hesitant to buy white. My sales advisor down in Sarasota, Florida, convinced me. No, dude, you got to get white. They're the best. And the only reason I got and both of my cars, I did not pay the full retail price for them. People are probably gonna get mad at that too. Hey, you're lying, and Tesla doesn't do discounts and all that bullshit.
If you get an inventory model, you got quite a deal.
Inventory model at the end of the quarter, and I did both of my cars like that. And we did an inventory search across nationwide, and we found cars, and I negotiated with them. And
people don't know that too. You can actually negotiate with Tesla on inventory cars. It's one of like the few secrets. Yeah. Okay, now it's known to everybody.
It absolutely is, and I can show my invoice. I have on my Model 3, I got free rims, and I got an inventory discount. It was a couple grand or what.
Okay, so basically what I'm saying, or what we're gonna do here, is we're gonna cut this little segment out. And then I'm gonna wait till
you don't have to cut this out
until I get my Tesla, and then I'm gonna post it up online and be like, "Sorry, this is like 5 years old, but this is true." So, no, I'm just messing with you guys.
It is true, but you have to be willing to be flexible. So when I got my Model X, when I got my Model 3, I didn't know shit. I just wanted a Model 3, and then I wanted the longest range one. I was like, I want the longest range, and then they found one with the premium rims. I was like, I don't care about the premium rims, and they're like, okay, we'll just give those to you for free, and we're not taking them off. So. And then it's like with the Best Buy. At Best Buy, whenever you bought, they had the last computer, and it was all fully upgraded with the software. They're like, well, we're not going to uninstall the software, so you get all that for free, if you don't want it. And so it's something similar. And then with my Model X, I did an inventory search, and I found one, and I got a great deal on that. It has the 22s, and I got the 22s upgraded.
Oh, those are so nice.
And so I got 2 upgrades. I got the 22s, and I got it was either the paint color or the interior, because it's midnight metallic silver and it's white. So I only had to pay for one of the upgrades, and then I also got an inventory discount.
Really? Not to get too much into your business, but how like steep is the inventory discount?
It's a couple grand.
Okay, so it's like every other automaker. They're like, oh, you get like $5,000 off or whatever.
It wasn't like $5,000.
Or I mean, like
it's not going to be anything that like make or break, but it's a nice.
It was enough that I'm like, okay, because I'm the kind of guy. I'm a bargain hunter and like a deal maker and stuff. I'm like, dude, you gotta give me a deal. Like, I ain't gonna buy the damn thing unless you
I was the same way.
I was like, you gotta give me something.
Yeah.
You gonna give me a hat? You gonna give me what are you gonna give me?
Yeah, and, that's good.
So my sales advisor was getting annoyed with me. I'm sure.
Cole, if
deal. You got a deal on the table, but you got to meet me somewhere.
That's fair.
Cole, if you're ready, if you want to ask our final question on the podcast.
Yeah. Is there any questions that or topics that we haven't brought up that you think is important for us to ask?
Gosh, that's a good question. I don't know.
That's why I put it at the end, because that's...
What do I want to talk about?
We should maybe put that towards the beginning to give everyone the entire episode to think about it.
Yeah, exciting curveball.
At the last second, we're gonna
just invent something that you'd like to talk about yourself about. I don't know. I like to. The reason I run my Twitter the way I do too is like all the things I post about, because I like to inspire people. I like to make people dream bigger than themselves. I'm a people manager. I have teams. I run teams of physicists, and we're also always hiring. If anybody out there is a medical physicist, please come to me and I will hire you. especially if you're board certified. So there is there's a huge world out there that people are unaware of, like nuclear medicine. I started talking about nuclear medicine. It's all this incredible stuff. Trading, trading inspires me every day. Do all this incredible stuff. 3D printing, all this awesome stuff in 3D printing that inspires me every day. Hiking in the woods. I go hiking out in the woods and I find inspiring things all day long. And it makes me excited about life. Like we have this really short life to live. We don't know what the hell happens next. And this is all we get, really. Like this is, as far as we know, this is it. That's all we get. One time. So like, why live your life sad? I mean, you can be sad about events or anything, but why live your life not unhappy? Unless you got some chemical imbalance or something that's making you depressed. But outside of that, you control every day at every moment your attitude. Your behavior. That's the only thing you can control. In fact, you can't control anything else but your attitude and your behavior and how you interpret things. And a lot of people get, slighted, or, it's really easy to get offended and all these things. And I think that there's just a big disconnect between what life should be and what I envision, what I always call the best of all possible worlds. And I use that all the time. This, in my mind, is what I envision to be the best of all possible worlds. Meaning this is the best it should be. What really it should be, like utopia. And we could be living that every day. I think we could be living in this.
And it's a mindset too, for sure.
It absolutely is. It's something you tell yourself, not just every day, not when you wake up. It is literally like every moment that you're alive. Say, you have to remind yourself, like, I am happy. Like, for example, I run a lot of meetings and a lot of webinars and all these things. And somebody asks me how I am. I always say, I am fantastic. And I say it in a really meaningful way. And it has a huge impact on people. And it's had a huge impact on people my whole career. It's always been something that set me aside in my career. Or if they're like, hey, how you doing? I'm absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better. And and then I even
look at you with a strange eyes. Yeah.
And then I even go on to say all these cool things that I'm excited about right now, and they're like, wow, why are you living life so happy? It's like, because I choose to, that really is the only thing that's different. I choose to live.
So your message and topic here is you choose how to live and make sure you live it right.
I think so. You choose things that inspire you and you go after them, right? So like with trading, for example, I go after things that excite me. I like momentum trading, but I like companies, I can invest in companies that are exciting and high growth. They happen to align with high growth companies, the things that I'm excited about, alternative energy, alternative food. All these things are really exciting to me, and it changes the dynamics of what we're doing. Like, recreational marijuana, for example, is something that would, completely change the face of our country, get us out of debt, get people out of jail, give everybody jobs. It would do so much to our society and impact everyone.
So ultimately, do things that inspire you that will indirectly or directly inspire other people too.
Yeah, and we're leaving this planet for our kids, right? And I don't know if you guys probably don't have any kids, but I have a few kids out there.
Cole might have a couple that he doesn't know of.
No, setting up franchise.
No. I thought we went over this. You have to be at least 5'8" to, sell your sperm at sperm banks here, and I'm 5'7" and a half. Damn. Bitch, I am upset.
Is that an actual thing?
That is an actual thing. Look it up.
No way.
Look it up. You have to be at least 5'8" to sell your sperm. I am 5'7".
They don't want your short jeans, Cole. Don't want them.
That's eugenics. I don't know what you're talking about. That's eugenics.
That's a fair point.
Eugenics. But so that's really it. I try to find, I find my inspiration in others. I follow people that inspire me, and I pick up on little things that they say or mention, and I go down rabbit hole, and I do 8 hours of research one night because they mentioned something to me that day. I'm one of those people that pour back over everything and think about it, to no end, and sometimes to a detriment. Like I was telling my boss that the other day. Like sometimes I just care too damn much. I get too emotional about things. That's why I'm good at some of the stuff, because I do get too emotional about it and too excited,
So are there any social media accounts or upcoming events that you want to promote?
Good question. I do webinars every now and then. I don't know if I want to promote them.
Yeah, no. But obviously your Twitter. It's what is it? Is it at nuclear_geek or?
Yeah, Geek, Nuke_Geek, NUC_GEK is my Twitter handle, and I post a lot of stock stuff, a lot of 3D printing stuff.
He's a very interesting guy. You should go watch him. Like it doesn't matter if you're into stocks or not. He'll end up saying some shit that you're like, what?
It's a diversified account, I think, but if you come on my account and you're a dick, I block you. I got no room for that stuff.
Yeah.
So if you've been blocking me by the past, feel free to reach out and see why I thought you were a dick, and I'll.
Cole, there is one thing I would like to promote, if we can, just as it made me think of it before, as far as what we were talking about with stocks and investing, and it really actually encompasses a lot of what we talked about. Our club, Tesla Owners Club New York State, was able to orchestrate 2 webinars with Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs. One is on, I believe it's December 8th and December 15th. They're 2 Tuesdays in a row. And they're going to be talking about giving a sustainability update and talking about companies and just businesses that are like-minded in, your morals, your ethics that line up with, you can make a great profit in life, and you could do so with, having no bad feelings about doing it, which I think is kind of, what we've been talking about. Yeah, moral investing. So if you could, and that's coming up soon. So we could put a link in the description, but also if you just go on the website, it's tocnys.org, and then go over to events and scroll down to December 8th and December 12th. Self promotion.
Yeah, definitely.
One final promotion.
Oh my god! Okay.
We're gonna put it.
So many promotions.
Put it in the Discord. We're gonna put this we're gonna put this in the description. Our Discord link. I talked about it earlier in the show. We want you guys to be a part of our community, and we want y'all to have a good time meeting each other, talking about whatever. We appreciate everything and all our viewers.
That was actually a really good plug. I thought you were going to be like, okay, third, just random topic that we're going to bring up and advertise. I was like, well, goddamn, why don't we just start running an advertisement agency? But anyway, guys, it's been really amazing.
I would say, if we want to do another one or something, and I know we talked on a lot of stuff today. It's kind of
honestly, how about we come on with you and just get a bunch of beers and then talk about conspiracy theories?
We can do that, but
that would be a fire podcast. That would be an absolute fire podcast.
Trading show that we kind of touched on a little bit, but we could actually go more into how do you do some of these things and how
we could break down every topic we talked about in an entire podcast.
No, for sure. These were so loaded. Nuclear medicine, we could have a whole podcast.
Yeah, we could do a whole. We didn't even talk about nuclear medicine.
So
I know, barely, and I had and that's just how it went. And I literally had for you, Sean, I had about 6 or so questions, maybe 5.
We'll have you back soon then.
Yeah, we're gonna have you on again soon. So I think one podcast that'd be amazing to have you guys 2 in a room. You and then oh my god, I can't believe you switched my name.
Earl of Frunk Puppy? I mean, we could all destroy him on how he never said thank you publicly.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, how about we all add him right after this and be like, you have to come on the podcast. Earl of Frunk Puppy. I was actually going
to corner him and attack him over.
Yeah. You can finally corner him.
I love his account. I love it. And as a guy, you really see his passion.
He's a good guy. Yeah.
His family life. He's a good guy. And that's one of the reasons I reached out to him. I was like, dude, I want to send you something. I really enjoy following you and all that. So that's cool. He didn't have to say thank you.
He's awesome. Yeah, no, we don't take anything. We're never going to threaten Earl because Earl is just otherworldly. He's so nice too. He puts on a front. He puts on a front of calling everybody peasants, but he's really an amazing guy. Anyway, guys, I gotta get going because this dude put 600 points up on me, and I've gotta go run and get this going.
I also gotta go run as well now. So, all right, cool. And back anytime.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I've got to go. He's got to go because we're in a working out competition right now, and it's. Well, not working out competition. We're not getting buff, but it's a calorie burning competition. Let's just be honest here. And it's getting pretty late in the day, and I've still got to study. So it was great having you guys on. This is probably the longest podcast we've ever done. Yeah,
it was a good podcast.
Over 2 hours. Yeah, it had
2 hours.
We're gonna have to have him back on. He's an amazing guy. Follow him again on Twitter at Nuclear Geek. He said it earlier. We'll actually have it in the description below. All right, guys. See ya.
Sean, thanks so much, man.
Thanks.